From Vermont's own WCAX, a Channel 3 special report on the Great American Eclipse starts now.
And welcome to the 2024 Total Solar Eclipse. I'm Kat Villianzoni here at the Burlington waterfront. Hundreds of thousands of people flocking to our region to see this totally rare event. And take a look at the Burlington waterfront right now. It is absolutely packed with people. Tens of thousands of visitors expected to visit the Queen City, with even more around the other areas of Vermont that are also in the path of totality. Look at that crowd. And we are about 25 minutes away from totality, and that, of course, is when parts of our region will be plunged into near total darkness. We have team coverage from around our region. We have Catherine Hutley here at the Burlington waterfront with me right now. Adam Sullivan is in St. Johnsbury. And we have Ike Ben David in St. Albans and Alec Lasham across the lake over in Plattsburgh. Darren and Gary are also standing by in the studio to track any clouds for us. We will check in with them in just a bit. But let me tell you, we've got a great team here at the waterfront today. I'm here with our meteorologist, Jess Langlois, and also space enthusiast, Bobby Farley-Rubio. Bobby, what an awesome, historic day to be here in this moment. And tell us, what will we be witnessing?
Oh, we're going to see the shadow of the moon cross over us right here, racing over at 3,000 miles an hour, 100-mile wide shadow that only a few of us in the continent will see, from Mexico across to Canada. And we are going to see that shade us here, make us cold for a few seconds, maybe see the diamond ring effect, Bailey's beads, and maybe the shadow bands across the ground. But mostly, it's just something that you'll have to wait till 2079 to see again here in Vermont.
And it's so wild that we get to be here in this moment to see it. And Jess, you know, talk about the path of totality, because our region really lucked out on this one.
We are. It is so rare to be right in the middle of the path of totality. So we'll be tracking that shadow of the moon over our area. So it's going to be coming into the Adirondacks first. That's where the first areas to see totality. It will be rapidly working its way northeast across northern Vermont and then through northern New Hampshire, leaving our area in Coos County and then exiting the U.S. through Maine.
And of course, all of this only takes just a few minutes from Plattsburgh at 3:25 until about 3:30 or so, exiting the northernmost parts of New Hampshire. Jess, how is the cloud cover looking, at least here in the waterfront today? Are these things that are going to disrupt our viewing?
Well, we do have these high, thin clouds that we've been dealing with for the better part of the afternoon now. They really started moving around noon. But the good thing is, at least for the partial eclipse, they have not hampered our viewing here. You can still see that sunshine through the clouds with eclipse glasses, and even for totality coming up here, I think we're still going to get a really good show today at the waterfront.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a wonderful day to be here at the waterfront, experiencing this moment in time. So, Gary, though, what are we exactly seeing on the radar as far as cloud cover goes?
Been tracking this all morning long, and this is a visible shot, so it shows where the clouds are and where they have been over the last hour or so. But take a look at the very bottom of the screen here, and you can see where it turned dark, and that darkness, that is the moon's shadow, and it is moving up the path of totality right now, and it's heading in our direction. Notice these thicker clouds that are back in western New York and how they've been getting darker, and that's what we're looking at. Taking a closer look at some areas of the country, we already saw most of the eclipse go by in the Texas area, and here it is right in the middle of the country right now, around St. Louis towards Cincinnati. This is going to be a trouble spot right here in western New York, where those clouds are a little thicker, and that's what's kind of heading our way. But luckily, the clouds that are here right now, they are just looking very thin, and we can see right through it. In fact, we have been looking outside and noticing that this is the way it looks from the top of Mount Mansfield. You can see those high, thin clouds out there, and there are some breaks too. And also, it's getting a little darker out there as well. So we're just going to jump ahead an hour or so and take a look at the way it looks for the rest of the eclipse. And pretty much what you see out there right now is what we're going to get. It would be nice if it were perfectly sunny and all that, but no, we've got those high, thin clouds, but it's not really blocking our view of it at all.
We lucked out, my friend.
Oh my gosh.
one. Holy smokes.
Really, we do.
Gary, thank you. In other parts of the country, getting in on the excitement, this is a live look from Illinois, where the total solar eclipse is happening right now. That will be us in just about 20 minutes or so. And Kat, I know you are pumped.
Thank you, Darren. And yeah, we are looking at the sun here through our special filters at the waterfront. It is so fun to see the sun look almost like the moon with a little crescent shape right now. Just wild to see those two roles almost kind of reverse. In Plattsburgh, across the lake, they're going to get the first look at totality even before we do here at the waterfront. Alec, what's it like there right now at the City Beach?
Hey, Kat. Good afternoon. And again, happy Eclipse Day to you all. Well, it's getting a bit colder. Get a little bit darker as well as the calm before totality is underway right now. And I'm standing in a space that was empty roughly 2 hours ago, but now you have tons of people looking up at the sun with their eclipse shades, waiting for that magical moment to happen as some beautiful music, some beautiful renditions of some very popular bands being played over on the stage as well. And again, we're all just waiting for that moment right now, really just bracing ourselves for the moment when totality does happen. So for now, I'm going to throw it back to you all in Burlington. Live in Plattsburgh, Alec Lasham, Channel 3 News.
Alec Lasham, thank you so much. And the waterfront here in Burlington is absolutely packed. You saw the aerial shots from just a moment ago, but let's take you into the crowd right now. Catherine Huntley is standing by. Catherine, the city's expecting a lot of people today.
Of Burlington is in the 40s. So it is absolutely popping down here. Waterfront Park is absolutely so busy. Continually more and more people are coming. Everybody is looking up at the sun. It's certainly a day that people will remember forever. Truly an incredible feeling being down here, and everybody's happy. Everything has been going so wonderfully, and people are just having a fantastic time, all waiting for the big moment. So, Kat, I'll send it back to you. Excited for what we see.
I mean, Catherine, I'm looking up through my filter right now, and that sun is disappearing fast. It is actually getting a little dimmer here at the waterfront. Of course, our coverage continues next. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're live at the Burlington waterfront celebrating this total solar eclipse. We've got our filters or our glasses to watch the eclipse if we're going to look at the sun directly. But let's say you don't have these at home and you've just decided to join the party. We have something that you have in your kitchen that you can use to make this happen. Bobby, tell us what we're looking at here.
We got a vegetable steamer basket or a colander, anything that has a lot of little holes in it. If you hold it just the right distance, you play with that, not where it's focused, but just a little farther away, and you'll see all these little crescents appear, one for every hole in the steamer. This way you can project the eclipse safely without looking at the sun, but you can see exactly how far the moon has blocked the sun, and it looks like there's a lot of little crescent suns in our view here.
All right, so there's a second one as well. I know you brought props for something that people can make easily at home. It's called a pinhole camera. What is a pinhole camera, Bobby? Let me hold something for you here.
Oh, no, I don't have one here. I'm sorry.
Okay, but what do you need to do?
Oh, I'm going to show you an even simpler trick that requires zero technology, just your hands. If you can hold that paper for me, Jess, and if you use your fingers to create the right pinholes, you can get little crescent solar eclipses in the same way as the colander, but this time you don't have to have anything at all. Right there in between my middle index fingers, I see a little crescent appearing.
Oh, yeah, I see a tiny one there.
So this is the easiest way to do this, and maybe if you have a tree like an evergreen fir tree, a pine tree, or a spruce tree, you can look at its shadow right now and you might see little crescents. There's one right between my fingers. So this is the same pinhole effect without any technology except your own hands.
Absolutely. So let's talk about if people have a pinhole camera supplies at home. I imagine everybody does.
Yes, if the best way to do it is take a sheet of cardboard and then make a hole in it, put a piece of foil over that hole, tape it, and then poke the tiniest hole, and then do what I was doing by holding it over a bright soft surface like a piece of paper, and you may be able to see another projection without having glasses.
And that's a great way for everybody to do this at home safely. Again, we're still at the point where you should not be looking at the sun without some sort of eye protection like a filter like this, or as Bobby said, there are other options you can do if you don't have those at home here. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys so much for that quick safety demo there. We're going to take a look right now at one of our other reporters who's standing by around the region. Let's go to Ike up in St. Albans. Ike, how's it going up at Taylor Park there?
Hello from St. Albans. Hello from St. Albans, where the totality at Taylor Park, the excitement is growing here. The people are officially starting to look up and keep their eye on the sun with their glasses on, of course, as that excitement is really growing right now. People from all over the country who have traveled right here to see some of the longest totality in the state of Vermont are very excited. And people who are locals here in St. Albans, they're telling me some of the biggest crowds they've seen. They compare it to Maple Fest and even bigger than that. The totality is on its way, of course, and we'll check back in after that. Live in St. Albans, Ike Ben David, Channel 3 News.
Really dark. All right, thank you, Ike. And we're going to go up to St. Johnsbury next. Adam Sullivan is standing by at the St. Johnsbury Museum and Planetarium. Adam, how's it going up there at the state's only planetarium?
Yeah, that's right, Kat. There's a lot of excitement in the air. Of course, the bright sunshine is helping to brighten the moon. Now, everyone has a special eclipse story if they've seen it before, and that includes Luis Gutierrez of Melrose, Massachusetts. This is a special day for you.
Yeah. So last eclipse in 2017, I proposed to my wife. We have a daughter now, and so we thought it was just a great family event to come up to Vermont. It's beautiful, cute town, lots of good food, good atmosphere. So this is a really good sort of eclipse anniversary. Yeah,
awesome. Thanks. Appreciate your time, Luis. I'm here now with Peter Kevikauskas. This is not your first time either. 2017?
No, we're really lucking out weather-wise too. I saw the solar eclipse back in 2017. Had perfect sunshine there in Kentucky. And guess what? Here in St. Johnsbury, we also got the perfect sunshine to go around. Some of those high, thin clouds starting to move in right now, but we're looking A-OK for totality here as we head towards the next few minutes.
All right, well, you saw Peter out there in St. Jay, and who would have thought months ago that the sunniest spot in the whole country would be up in the Northeast Kingdom? That's pretty much where it is, so those guys are really going to get a good view of the eclipse. We've been following it on our visible satellite loop, and what we've been seeing is, take a look at this dark area right here. Started about an hour ago. That is the shadow of the moon, and it's blocking out the clouds. We're going to zoom in a little closer to the northeast. We've had some thick clouds back to our west, right around Buffalo, so it's going to be kind of hard to see the eclipse from back there, but you can see that the shadow is now coming across that way, and it's heading in our direction, so very close now we are going to have totality. We've also been watching our camera from the top of Mount Mansfield. We've got a little bit of a time lapse on that over the last half hour. Wanted to take you through that and show you how it's been progressing as we've gone through the last half hour. You can see how it's getting darker and darker, so it's getting close, and pretty soon it's going to be here. So here's what we're doing. We're taking a look ahead, and we're going to go just a half an hour ahead now to 3:30. That's the time of totality, and this is where the clouds are going to be. So you can see those thicker clouds are farther back to the west, but we're still going to see those high, thin clouds. Now, so far, if you have been outside and taken a look with your glasses on, you'll notice that you can see right through those clouds, and that's the best thing about these high, thin clouds is it's still visible. And this is going to about 5 o'clock tonight, so that'll take you right through the very end of partiality, and then we'll just have to wait for the next eclipse. Okay, after this, we will take a look at the weather beyond this, because, yeah, we've got some interesting weather ahead of us by the end of the week, too. We'll be talking about that in the Max Advantage forecast in the next hour.
All right, Gary, thank you. We are closer and closer, as Gary said, to that total solar eclipse. It's happening right now in Ohio. This is a live look there. So that means we are now just a few minutes away from totality in our region. We'll join Kat and the team back at the waterfront for totality right after this.
Welcome back to the Channel 3 special report, where we are live from the Burlington waterfront, watching this once-in-a-lifetime event unfold in front of us. And honestly, you just cannot get a better crowd or a better day here at the Burlington waterfront. It is absolutely packed around here with people. The waterfront is full. There are people everywhere who are just looking up to the sun to see this moment, to experience it, to I guess, Bobby, I would say just kind of like take it in. It's awesome.
Oh, you just want to absorb every moment, look in every direction, listen for every sound, look at every wisp in the clouds and every shimmer on the ground and see what's happening, because you have to, you can't just take this for granted. You got to take it, absorb it, and feel it every single minute. It's already getting cold here. It's kind of amazing how quickly that happened. It's creeping in on us. We've got, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes left before totality.
I mean, that sun is almost gone up there. There's only a tiny sliver left if you take a look at it through your lenses right now, which again, you do still need the lenses right now to be safe while looking at it. But Jess, you're actually tracking the temperature on your device there. Tell me about that.
I am. We have this handheld weather station here, so we can actually keep track of the temperature. Currently, I'm getting 57.5 degrees as a temperature on this. So as we continue to get darker here, and especially as we head into totality, we can see how much the temperature drops, because that will happen as we go into totality here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was the temperature when we started-ish?
It was in the 60s, low 60s. So we've already lost a few degrees. You can feel it. You can see that daylight dimming out here too.
Absolutely, and it's it's something that it's awesome to witness this, to get to be able to see the moments of the sun actually getting blocked. Bobby, this has been something you've been waiting for years.
Oh, yes. I mean, we had a partial eclipse in 2017, and we've been telling people to get ready for this one, and I've never really seen a total eclipse in my entire life. So I don't know how to, contain myself right now.
I know, and Jess, it's kind of rare that we're even able to see it, right?
Right, just weather-wise, we got so lucky. We're talking about these high, thin clouds, but for what we could see in Vermont in April, I mean, just think about what we had last week. We really lucked out. I mean, statistically, even just looking back to 2000, we only have about a 25% chance of having favorable viewing conditions on April 8th. And remember, last year we had a gorgeous April 8th, so to get 2 years in a row with these favorable conditions, it's not too cold, it's dry, you can see the eclipse happening, it's just incredible.
Although I will say I am glad that I am wearing my sweater over my eclipse dress here, because it is starting to get chilly out here, and I know Bobby's watching the time for us. How close are we to totality at this point?
We're about 2.5 minutes, so
2.5
close.
minutes out from totality at this point. And Bobby, remind people what they should be looking for as we head into totality.
Some of the last things you'll see with the glasses on watching the sun is the diamond ring effect, when the last piece of the sun is still visible and the rest is just fading out, and then you might see what's called Bailey's beads, which look like little dots of light around the edge, and then totality begins. Well, those are the last two things that you'll see, and that's the only time totality when it's safe to take off these glasses. But if you want to watch the diamond ring effect or Bailey's beads, you need to keep the glasses on.
Absolutely. And Jess, you've been waiting for this for a long time as well. Talk a little bit about why you wanted to experience this event personally, because obviously you're a meteorologist. You must love the weather. You must be interested in all things sky related.
Right. It's such a rare, and to think about just it going completely dark in the middle of the afternoon, and how rare it is to be in the direct path of one of these.
Yes.
Anything that happens in the sky and anything that's rare, it's just so cool.
I was doing the math on some of the times that it was between eclipses here in Burlington, and it was about 400 years between eclipses. The last one was in 1569. The next one won't be until 2399. So really, when we're talking about once in a lifetime event, if you want to experience it right here in Burlington, this is actually a once in many lifetimes event. So what I'm going to have our crew here at the waterfront do is turn off the lights that are currently on us, because we want you to see exactly how dark it's getting right now here at the waterfront, and get a really good sense of what it's like when that sun is obscured by the moon and we enter the phase of totality. Which, Bobby, how far are we at now? You got a countdown clock.
Oh, we've got about 2 minutes left, folks.
2 minutes left until totality. And if you're looking up at the sun right now, there's honestly only the barest sliver still left right there. Bobby, I was saying earlier, it kind of reminds me to see the sun kind of almost like it looks like the moon on a night where you've just had a new moon, and it's just a little bit of moon left, except right now it's the sun.
The fingernail sun. Yes, the fingernail sliver.
Yeah, it's so wild. And Bobby, when you're watching this, what is going through your head?
Oh, I'm thinking about what's happening on the surface of the sun. There might be corona, prominences. There might be solar flare, or coronal mass ejection. There might be all kinds of magnetic field loop lines, and I'm just hoping to see what the sun is up to right now when we get a chance to see it without fancy telescopes, just with our own eyes after totality begins.
Which, again, we can't underscore how rare of an opportunity that is, to be able to look at the sun without any eye protection, again, during totality when it is safe. So, Jess, how cold is it now? What's the temperature temperature doing right now?
It's about level from where I've had it. I think the heat from my hand might be sort of, I'm trying not to drop it here, so it's actually a little bit higher than it was before. But I'm trying to hold it consistently here. But
but you expect that to go down even
yeah,
further.
once we're totally into totality here, I mean, it just feels like, it just felt like we got a cool breeze here again. So it's getting really dark here now.
And people at the waterfront are already starting to get excited about this. We heard some whoops and cheers just a moment ago. I mean, the sun is barely still there, guys. It is so close to this once in a lifetime.
Oh, it's going,
event.
going.
And I cannot believe that I am here to witness this with so many people on the Burlington waterfront.
Wow.
And see how dark it is getting right now, Bobby.
I can't believe it. It's like maybe like 15 degrees of the sun's limb left visible, and the moon is almost there.
Yeah.
It's about getting to be a dot right now.
Oh my God.
And it's about to disappear.
There's barely any
And
sun
you can tell
left.
by the crowd's reaction. There we have totality.
And there it goes.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
Whoa. Wow. And there's planet Venus and planet Jupiter visible right in the sky, but I can't take my eyes off of the sun.
All right, let's just take in this moment, guys.
I'm taking off my glasses. I think I see the corona despite those clouds. Oh my God, it's so amazing. This is breathtaking, isn't it?
Look at that. Just look at that. I mean, when we talk about once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, Bobby, I cannot imagine. I'm trying to take a photo right now because I'm like, I want to preserve this in my brain for the rest of my life.
So I'm never going to forget this moment. And I can see something that looks like a prominence, sort of like 7 o'clock on the sun right now.
I see it too, Bobby.
Extra bright dot, a storm on the sun perhaps.
Jess, what's going through your head right now?
There's just something about totality. I mean, the detail, the thing, the corona, just even with the clouds, the show that we're seeing, you can't ask for anything better than this.
It's awesome. It's amazing. And I mean, we were so lucky to get, as we were talking about earlier, Jess, conditions to even be able to see this, to witness this moment. It's just fantastic. Bobby, all right, let's go forward with, now that we're in totality, what can people look for?
Well, this might be a time when you'll see more of the shadow bands as totality comes to an end. You may see another diamond ring effect happening on the opposite side of the moon. So this would be down at the 4 o'clock angle if you were thinking of it as a clock face. And I still see that prominence near 6 to 7 o'clock right on the moon. There's got to be some kind of a storm happening on the surface of the sun that's reaching up into the chromosphere and the corona. And I can even see curves in those gassy lines coming from the corona that indicate magnetic fields from the sunspots and the solar storms that are constantly coursing over the face of the sun. We never get to see this without special telescopes. Just now, my own eyes can see it.
It's so fantastic. And Jess, how cold is it right now? You got your handy dandy instrument there.
We are down to 54.3 degrees, so we've lost 3 degrees here just since totality.
And we're going to be in totality for a little bit here, for about 3 minutes and 10 seconds, some change there.
Exactly.
For us here, and that means it's probably going to get even colder.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep tracking this, and you can feel the difference. Just the scene here, it's with the lake, the mountains, the sun. This is just.
I mean, it honestly, we've
the
said
definition of breathtaking. I can't take my eyes off of it.
It looks like twilight, and I mean, honestly, it really does. It looks like there's a sunset almost happening. Except there isn't.
And
we know that it's going to get sunny in a bit.
You can almost see the light returning over to the Adirondacks, and
this is typically our warmest part of the day too. Once we start to get into the spring here, late afternoon.
Time for glasses back on, folks.
And there we are.
A clear diamond ring right there.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And you can see the contrast from how dark it was to how bright it is now. It would be dangerous to look at this without your glasses on.
It really was instantaneous, where I was like, wow, I need the filter again. And look at the light already starting to change here at the waterfront. Woohoo! That's right, the crowd is excited, and so are we.
I'm so glad to share this with so many folks out here.
Was spectacular.
It's incredible.
It was
how
absolutely
quickly
wonderful.
It's getting bright.
We cannot stress just how amazing it is to witness this once-in-a-lifetime event across our entire region. That's I think the beauty of this is that so many people across our viewing area got to have this moment with us, got to have this ability to see this site that many people won't ever see in their lifetime, certainly not unless you travel to see one. So to be able to actually, Bobby and Jess, have that moment and have that ability to take a look with so many other people and have it almost be this cultural phenomenon. I mean, Bobby, it's just incredible.
It's just a connection that everyone here today will have this connection for the rest of their lives. And whenever we see each other, we'll talk, and one of us says, hey, were you at the eclipse? And they were. All of a sudden, we'll be closer together as kindred spirits, just united by this phenomenon, this beauty. Oh, and I can feel that sunlight warming my face.
It's starting to get noticeably warmer, so I'm going to actually have Jess put down her glasses for a second so she can check the weather device here and tell us what temperature it is. All right, we're coming up now.
Let's see. We're getting 57.7. I will give the caveat that while I was looking at the sun here, it fell down next to my legs, so that might have made the temperature off, but it is getting noticeably warmer already.
It is, and noticeably brighter, too. If you'll notice, we have the lights back on the stage here, of course, but even you can look behind us and you can see that the lights are getting a lot brighter as you look towards where the sun is now, which is up in the sky. You definitely need your filters again. So, again, partial eclipse not done yet. It's going to continue for a while. The same thing that came in is going to go back out.
Yeah, it's reversing itself. So we've got a long time, about an hour before the moon slides off of the sun. So you can enjoy this part now, but I'm just moved. I can't even explain what I just saw with the totality. I've been preparing for this. I've seen pictures of this, videos, simulations. None of them could match what I just saw with my own eyes.
Absolutely. And Jess, what are you feeling right now?
I mean, that was just breathtaking. This is one of those things you look forward to your whole life. It's a true bucket list item, and just to have this happen right in our own backyard, literally.
We didn't have to travel. I mean, a lot of people did travel here for it, but we didn't have to travel for it.
It's just incredible. This once in a many lifetimes event to happen right at home. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. And the fact that the weather held out, this is just something that we've been biting our nails over for weeks and months. And the fact that it worked out, it happened. We saw the corona. It's incredible.
And it was clearly meant to be. The weather meant it to happen. We got great conditions for it. We are not done yet. Of course, totality might be done, but we are not. We are going to be checking with our reporters who are here at Burlington and St. Albans, in Plattsburgh and St. Johnsbury right when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Burlington waterfront, where we just witnessed a rare event, a total solar eclipse, and it was phenomenal. Let's go to Catherine Huntley, who was in the crowd here at the waterfront as it happened. Catherine, what are people saying?
We have seen the beginning of time over.
Emotional. I mean, I keep hearing that from everybody. It was so emotional. I mean, to go into near complete darkness in the middle of the day over the beautiful Lake Champlain and Adirondack Mountains. People were pretty quiet and hushed and just really taking it all in here. So let me introduce you now to Molly from Concord, New Hampshire. Molly, tell us what you experienced.
It was honestly pretty incredible. I started crying. My eyes got really teared up. I didn't realize how cold it was going to get. I was a little cold. It was really wild. We left at 8 this morning, so we traveled for like 4 hours in the car. Totally worth it.
What made you so emotional?
Oh my gosh, I'm here with my daughter, so it was really emotional just to experience this with her, and yeah, it was just incredible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your time here. Well, as you can see, it's been truly an incredible day, something I certainly will never forget the rest of my life. So, Kat, I'll send it back to you.
I can't agree more, Catherine. I will never forget this moment here and seeing the sun blocked out by the moon with that ring of white corona around it. Just phenomenal. Across the lake in Plattsburgh, plenty of people, I bet, also wowed by that sight. Alec Lasham live in Plattsburgh for us right now. Alec, what are people over there saying?
Well, Kat, it was a very emotional moment, but I'm going to leave it here to Jack to tell us what the experience was like. Jack, you told me you came from New Jersey up here a couple days ago. What was this moment like for you?
It's hard to describe. I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. I still have shivers, and can't wait to see another one in the next 20 years.
And which part of totality was just the most emotional part? Was it the total eclipse?
It's the whole experience, but once the diamond ring effect hits, and you know it's going to go dark, and you know you're going to see the stars, and the effect of the Earth and the sun and the moon coming together, just that's what made me feel chills and tears.
Now, you've seen 2 of these eclipses so far.
Yes.
Now, and I believe 20 years ago is what you said. Do you recommend this to anyone going forward?
Oh my God! I mean, I traveled to Africa in 2001 in Zambia to see a 3-minute eclipse, and this was only 300 miles away. I'd say travel anywhere you could in the world to see one. It's life-changing, and it just makes you feel different. You realize how much you're part of something bigger than yourself.
Well, folks, there you have it. The words from Jack right there. Jack, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you all, live in Plattsburgh. Alec Lasham, Channel 3 News.
Alec, thank you so much. Now, we were also in Franklin County up in St. Albans, where they had a whopping 3.5 minutes of totality, which is just phenomenal to see. They had extra time compared to us here at the waterfront. That's where Ike and David is now. So, Ike, how is it up there at Taylor Park?
An absolutely unbelievable experience here for the people experiencing totality in Taylor Park here in St. Albans. The band playing live music stopped, and everything really quieted down, and then everyone erupted in cheers when we hit that totality here. And as it was still quiet when everyone was experiencing this almost once-in-a-lifetime moment for many people here in St. Albans, you heard a lot of comments, a lot of people saying how amazing this was, a lot of people talking about how it was something they would never forget. And we're going to hear from some of those people coming up throughout the Channel 3 Evening News coming up at 4, 5, and 6. Now we're live in St. Albans. David.
Thank you so much. Now, visitors to the state's only planetarium over in St. Johnsbury also got to see a spectacular solar sight up there. Adam, you're there right now. Obviously, the planetarium draws a lot of people who love space and are really interested in celestial events like this. What are they telling you right now?
Yeah, Kat, just really a special moment, not only for the eclipse, but the fact that I got to meet Janet Lucas here. She's 101 years old. She's lived in St. Johnsbury her entire life. And Janet, you have seen this event before in 1932. Yeah, tell me about it.
In 1930, I was 9 years old, and we did not have glasses in those days or anything, but we had pieces of glass that were blackened, and we used those to keep our eyes safe from the sun.
And what do you think about today's eclipse?
Oh, I thought it was the greatest thing I ever saw. It was just fantastic. But you know what really amazes me is the crowd. The crowd that came out for this. This must be something that's going to be in their minds for the rest of their life.
Well, I appreciate you tracking me down, Janet. Janet came up to us earlier today. She wanted to meet some of the Channel 3 family, and now I feel like Janet is part of our family.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful to know.
All right, thank you, Janet. Back to you guys.
Adam, I feel like she's part of the family too, and I cannot imagine how amazing it is to be able to live through not one, but 2 of these where you live. That is just phenomenal. We, of course, are not done. We're taking a look at the roads next with all these tens of thousands of visitors who have come to our region, hundreds of thousands really, to view this eclipse. They're all going to need to get home. Darren is back with what we're seeing for traffic right after this.
And welcome back. With tens of thousands of visitors in Vermont for the big event, of course, comes traffic. We're looking out over Interstate 189 in South Burlington from our Skywatch 3 tower cam. Right now, things looking pretty good in that area, though we expect this area and Route 7 to get busier and busier as people make their way out of Burlington. As a reminder, roads still closed near the waterfront, as you can see right there in red, including Lake Street and Battery Street, parts of College Street, Pearl Street, and North Avenue. Those will reopen at 6 tonight. The Beltline will reopen at 8 o'clock. Let's check in with our Cam Smith now, who's following the exodus of cars from the Burlington area. You're near Williston Road right now. What are you seeing?
Hey, just about 5 or 10 minutes ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that, the roads were the roads were completely empty during the total solar eclipse, and now cars already starting to filter out of Burlington. Even folks going north, moving good, but leaving Burlington into South Burlington towards the interstate, already starting to pile up a little bit. Let me step out of the way here for you to see what's going on behind me. Traffic starting to move a little bit more smoothly as these lights start to change and whatnot. But like I said, during the total solar eclipse, the roads completely empty, and now you can already start to see again those cars starting to filter out, heading towards the interstate. Some of the folks we talked to a little bit earlier said that was their plan. They were here for the total solar eclipse, and as soon as it was over, they were hitting the road. They stocked up on gas already. They stocked up on snacks already for what is anticipated to be probably a little bit longer ride home. Many folks from Massachusetts saying it took about 3 hours to get here. They're anticipating being in the car for maybe double that, depending on what the conditions on the highways are, again, as folks start to filter out of the region. But right now in South Burlington, things moving smoothly, but certainly a lot more traffic as the afternoon progresses and folks begin to leave town. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on the road conditions in terms of traffic as we get throughout the evening. But for now, live in South Burlington, Cam Smith, Channel 3 News.
Cam, thank you. Heavy traffic on many roads right now, including near the state capitol. Calvin Cutler is live in Montpelier right now, where Eclipse festivities are still underway. Calvin, what are we expecting to see on Interstate 89 this afternoon and evening?
Yeah, good afternoon, Darren. The Eclipse party here in Montpelier is still going strong, but thousands of people are expected to hit the highways, mostly heading south out of state on some of the state's most arterial roads. Now, Montpelier police alone told me that they're expecting about 20,000 people here in Montpelier, which potentially could surpass the record set in 2017 with the Women's March, with about 15,000 people. Now, as I said, tens of thousands of people will now be heading south on Vermont's arterial roads, such as I-89, 91, Route 7, and others. Now, VTrans tells us that they don't have a way to measure traffic in real time, but they said that they are deploying drones as well above the highways to monitor traffic conditions. Now, people we spoke with have said that traffic has been a challenge, even for those that were heading north this morning as well, coming up from Massachusetts, New Jersey, and other states as well. Now, VTrans also says that people should stay home if you can during the peak traffic hours and allow for roads to filter out. Now, you can stay up to date with current traffic conditions through VTrans and 511's website as well. We're going to bring you live traffic conditions as well going forward. So for now, reporting live in Montpelier, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.
Calvin, thank you. And someone who knows about eclipse traffic firsthand is our meteorologist, Peter Kevakowskis, who was at the 2017 total solar eclipse in Kentucky. Peter, this was fascinating. You told us it took you 7 hours just to go 10 miles.
Yeah, that was one thing that we were definitely not prepared for back in 2017. You know, they say the eclipse is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That traffic that we experienced back in 2017, also a very much a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Saw taillights for miles back in 2017, and it took us a long time just to get anywhere. As a matter of fact, here we are in St. Johnsbury just a few minutes ago when we were in totality. We were talking about these streets jam-packed and full of people, but that definitely not the case anymore as everybody starts to shuffle out. As a matter of fact, local officials are warning people here about major slowdowns, especially on I-91 South as well as I-93 East. So we are definitely gearing up for a good amount of traffic as we head through the next few minutes and over the next several hours as well. For now, live in St. Johnsbury, Peter Kevakowskis, Channel 3 News.
Peter, thank you. And Vermont emergency management officials say they've learned a lot while preparing for this major statewide event. They say key to their success is the pre-planning work that went on and all the teamwork, making sure that they brought in as many partners as they could early on in the planning process instead of waiting until later.
Throwing that net as wide as you can at the beginning, and if some of the agencies don't end up having a large part in it, it's easier to kind of move them off than it is to bring them back on at the last minute. So really being all inclusive in your planning process is really what worked well for us, and we would do that again.
He also said having agencies work together through the pandemic and multiple rounds of flooding and wild weather have also honed their operational skills and relationships. The eclipse is a bright spot for Vermont's economy. The tourism commissioner says it could be a $50 million shot in the arm for the state, if not more, with all the visitors. And she says what Vermont does well: come together. Just like he said, whether it be for a special event like the eclipse or during natural disasters. So she expects things to go smoothly.
There really is great power in forming networks with our local officials, with our local volunteers, in every community, so that whether we're celebrating something very big and very positive like this, or we have to come together in our hour of need, that we really know who to call, who to get in touch with, and we just make sure that those local networks really are interconnected so that we can do whatever needs to be done.
The commissioner says the timing is good for Vermont too, a tourist off season, if you will, and that people will get to see that Vermont is a good place to visit all year. Well, we have made history here in Vermont with the Great American Eclipse, and Kat Villanzoni is taking a closer look at that from the waterfront. How amazing has this been, my friend?
Oh my gosh, Darren, you know I have been waiting for months and months and months for this, and it was everything I had hoped to see here today. And plenty of people out here at the waterfront, of course, were taking their photos of the eclipse, sending those to family and friends who might not be in the path of totality, might not be witnessing it. And in a way, they are helping document a part of Vermont's history while they are doing that. It's a much different form of documentation, as you might imagine, though, from back in our last total solar eclipse to cross over Vermont in 1932. That was on August 31st, 1932. Back then, obviously, cell phones, the internet, social media, well, those were not a thing. And of course, not everybody, and in fact, very few people, had cameras that had the ability to actually capture a solar site like that. So many of our records of the eclipse from Vermonters watching it in 1932 were preserved in the daily diaries from farmers and others.
So if we didn't have observations like this from people from the 1930s, do you think part of that eclipse history would have been lost if farmers and others hadn't been keeping these diaries?
Yeah, absolutely. We really love receiving diaries, more than just about any type of collection, because they really tell a personal story about living here.
And I will say it was amazing to hear from Adam talking to a person who actually lived through that 1932 eclipse in St. Johnsbury and was alive to see the next one happen in her area, which was this year. Absolutely amazing. Those diaries, old newspaper articles from 1932. It was kind of cool because they were also on display in Barrie today at the Historical Society as the total eclipse rolled over them for about 20 seconds or so in Barrie this afternoon. Bobby Farley's-Rubio is back with us now. Bobby, you know, eclipses throughout history have had some pretty significant impacts. Why do you think these kinds of events have such a seismic impact on the people who are watching them?
Well, now I can say with experience that seeing something like that makes you stop and think about what you're doing in life, what is the point of everything, and making sure you want to review your choices in life, because that's how I feel like I was going through my mind during the 3 minutes of totality. So I can understand why very lasting pieces and entire new systems of government have been born during eclipses.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that, because you've done your research on some of the past eclipses and some of the impacts that they have had. Talk about, there was one in kind of the northeast in our region that had a huge impact on the Native American people who were living here.
Yeah, only a couple hundred miles away, the Great Law of Peace was launched, the world's oldest consistent continuous government. It was the 5 original nations, the Onondaga, the Cayuga, the Seneca, the Oneida, and the nearby neighbors of Mohawk people. And you were to fight with each other. They had all kinds of constant warfare. And then there was a peacemaker named Daganawida who came about and convinced a chief named Hiawatha that they must have peace. And as Hiawatha went around convincing the nations to join into a peace, they were skeptical. They wanted to keep fighting. And then a total solar eclipse occurred in the sky during this very famous time when he was convincing the Seneca leaders, and it changed everything. They decided to unite, and they became the Haudenosaunee, the people of the Longhouse, what we studied in history as the Iroquois Confederacy. And they literally buried their hatchets. They ripped up a pine tree, put all their weapons of war underneath, and they stayed united to this day. They have a curtain Tadorajo, which is the leader, kind of like the Speaker of the House for their government. His name is Sid Hill, and he's 176th, I think, Tadorajo in history. But we now know the eclipse that actually triggered that event in history. It was on August 22nd, 1142. So we're talking almost 1,000 years ago.
That is amazing. And there was an ancient Greek battle as well.
Yes, a fight between Lydia and the Mendion, I think it was called, and they were in the middle of the battle. There was a guy named Thales who had predicted that there would be an eclipse, but the soldiers didn't know this. And in the middle of the fight, they saw that totality and they dropped their weapons. And it not only led to peace, it led to uniting of the kingdoms, where the son of Lydia and the daughter of, the daughter of Lydia and the son of the king of Mendion married, and they united their kingdoms. So romantic, triggered, and also like the end of war. I mean, let's hope we can see another end of war today with the eclipse that we just saw.
It is really nice, though, to see a lot of people, on the waterfront, even here today, coming together on such a positive event and such a positive note to unify, even under, a few minutes of darkness in the middle of the afternoon. And, a few minutes of darkness, though, I think we've heard from scientists is actually super valuable to some of their research. The 1919 eclipse, Einstein's theory of relativity got tested.
Yes, two scientists, Eddington and Dyson, decided to build two telescopes in Principe, an island off the coast of Africa, and in Brazil to witness this eclipse. As the sun and the moon were before the stars of Taurus, they could see what Einstein had predicted with general relativity, that light is bent by the force of gravity. And how better to test it than when the sun is blocked? You can see the stars behind it that are normally obscured, and they could see that they had changed position from where they would normally be. So Einstein's theory of relativity was proven with a solar eclipse.
Just absolutely wild, and I know there's a lot of scientific research going on today. There's also a lot of citizen science projects that you can take part in as well. Just go to NASA's website. They have some information about that. It is worth underscoring, though, exactly how rare these total solar eclipses are. I went onto NASA's website. I found some data that talks about how you can use eclipses just by plugging in latitude and longitude and find out where they've been in the world in the year 3000 BC all the way to 3000 AD. So I said, well, why not look up some of the ones from our region here? Let's see about Burlington. Burlington's last total solar eclipse was on September 10th, 1569. Vermont was still 220 plus years away from statehood at that point, Bobby.
Yes.
Next one, yeah, that's not going to be until August 2nd, 2399. So totally not within our lifetimes, not even our grandchildren, maybe. And then it's amazing to think that, it's 450 years since the last one here, 375 or so since the next eclipse to cross our skies, and we happen to be the ones who are able to witness that.
Yes, and not since this lake was known as Betalbekok, the Abenaki name for the lake, because Champlain had not even journeyed across the sea to come here yet.
Exactly.
The last time that happened.
I also ran the numbers for Plattsburgh across the lake. Again, they're the same as Burlington. 1569 is the next is the last one. The next one on 2399. St. Albans, though, now this one was interesting. St. Albans this is extremely rare for them. Here's why. Their last total solar eclipse was also on September 10th, 1569. But based on the data set that I looked at, it looks like they might just be outside the path of totality in 2399. So their next total solar eclipse wasn't even listed in the data set, which again, as I said, goes out to the year 3000. So this potentially could be a once in a millennium kind of event for St. Albans, which is just wild. And Bobby, up from where your side of the state is in the kingdom, St. Johnsbury, they've had kind of the reverse. They got 1932 August 31st eclipse passing over them, but their next one is not until June 19th, 2699. So they're going to wait an extra 300 years compared to Burlington, which is just wild.
Yes, as you can't take these things for granted. And I should mention that eventually, in the distant future, total solar eclipses will become impossible, as since the Apollo missions, we learned that the moon is slightly sliding away from the Earth about an inch per year. This is some of the experiments that were set up by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. And so in the distant future, total eclipses will never happen again.
This is absolutely wild. The next one over Vermont is in 2079. It goes over just the southern part of the state. a little bit of Bennington and Windham counties before it heads north. The next total eclipse over the country is technically 2033 in Alaska. However, the next one to go across the whole U.S. is in 2045. That's it for our special report here live at the Burlington waterfront for Totality. Don't go anywhere, though. Our news continues next for the Channel 3 News, first at 4.